Okay, so before I start writing my introduction, what do I need? So after the address and the date, I need my opening. Now, Howard was writing to his aunties, so he wrote Dear Aunties. Now, who am I writing to as Florence Nightingale? Well, I am writing to my family back home, aren't I? And in my family, I have my mum, my dad, and my sister Parthenope, don't I? So therefore, I'm going to write Dear Mum, Dad, and Parthenope, so they will know straight away that the letter is to them. Okay, now I'm going to start writing my introduction. Well, I know in an introduction, I always need to start with the purpose of my letter. So I need to have the purpose of my letter in my first sentence. Now, what is the purpose of my letter? Well, I'm writing to them to tell them that I've arrived in Scutari, haven't I? So therefore, I'm going to write, I'm writing to let you know of my safe passage to Turkey, or I'm writing to let you know that I have arrived safely in Turkey. So straight away, they will know the purpose of the letter, why I am writing to them. Now, I haven't seen my family in quite a while, so therefore I probably have a lot of questions to ask them, don't I? And I need to give them questions so that they can then reply to my letter. So what sort of questions could I ask my family? Well, first of all, I want to know how they all are. So I'm going to ask them, how are all of you at home? Now, I've remembered when I write a question that I need to start with a question word. So in this question, I've got how, and I need to end my question with a question mark. So there we go. There's my first question. Now, I want to ask them more because they're going to need lots of questions so they can answer my letter. Now, how are you all at home? So I've asked them how they are. Now, I'd quite like to know what they've been doing since I've been gone. So again, I'm going to start with a question word and I'm going to end my question with a question mark. So I'm going to ask them, what have you been doing since I left home? So I'm going to start with what, which is a question word. What have you been doing since I left? And then I've got a question mark at the end because yes, it is a question. So there we go. I've written lots of questions for my family to answer just in the first few sentences. Okay, now, why am I writing the letter? Well, I'm writing to them to tell them I've arrived in Scutari. But the journey wasn't the best, was it? And I want to tell them this. The journey took 2 whole weeks, didn't it? So therefore, in my next sentence, I'm going to talk about the journey. So I'm going to say, after 2 long, never-ending weeks, I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. So I've started my sentence here with an adverb of time after 2 long, never-ending weeks. So that tells me when we arrived in Scutari. Now, after 2 long, never-ending weeks. Now, what have I included there? Yes, I've included an expanded noun phrase, 2 long, never-ending weeks. And I've got my determiner, 2, tells me how many. Then I've got my 2 adjectives, long and never-ending, with my comma in the middle. And then I've got my noun, which is weeks. Now, I've put I was so relieved. Why have I put I was so relieved? Well, I've put that because I'm talking about myself. So I'm going to use the personal pronoun I because I'm writing in the first person. Now, I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. What have I included in that sentence? Yes, I wanted to include a subordinating conjunction. And I know that one of my subordinating conjunctions is when. So I put I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. So there is my subordinate clause. When we finally arrived in Scutari. Okay, now, what do I want to tell them next? Well, as I said, the journey wasn't the best, was it? So I'm going to tell them just how bad it was. I have got to say, that was the most unbearable journey I have ever been on. Okay, so I'm telling them that the journey was unbearable. What have I used in this sentence? Did you spot it? The most unbearable. So I have used a superlative adjective here, haven't I? Remember we learnt about these in phonics. So I've used a superlative adjective, the most unbearable. And I've used the most rather than adding the suffix est because unbearable has unbearable 4 syllables. Okay, now what do I want to tell them next? Well, I want to tell them just what happened on the journey to make it so unbearable. So I'm going to write, for days on end, the ferocious mighty waves. Oh, the ferocious mighty waves. What have I included there? Yes, another expanded noun phrase. So I've already got 2 expanded noun phrases in there. The ferocious mighty waves. So I've included the determiner the, then my 2 adjectives, ferocious and mighty, and then my noun waves. The ferocious mighty waves crashed against the boat. So, oh, I've used a coordinating conjunction there. Can you see it? When we looked at our bubble story, we looked at coordinating conjunctions. So I've used so. So it was continuously rocking from side to side. Now I've used the personal pronoun it here because I'm talking about the boat and I don't want to repeat myself. It was continuously rocking from side to side. Oh, now what tense have I used? Well, I've used the past progressive tense. It was continuously rocking. So I've got it, the past tense of to be, which was, it was, and then my verb rocking with the suffix ing on the end. Look how much I've fit in one paragraph. Okay, now what do I want to put at the very end? Well, I want to put an exclamation sentence to tell them just how I felt on that boat, to really let them know what the journey was like. So I've chosen to use an exclamation sentence. So I've got how as my first word. And then after how, you have to have an adjective, don't you? So I've put how seasick I felt. And look, I've even remembered the exclamation mark at the end. Okay, so now it's your turn, year 2. Using what I have put, I would like you to put this into your own words. So make it your own. Don't just copy what I have written, but I've given you some ideas to help you when you're writing it. So pause the video now and have a go at writing your introduction. Okay, year 2. So now it is time to edit. So here I would like to look over what I have written. So I've written, dear Mom, Dad and Parthenope, I am writing to let you know of my safe passage to Turkey. How are you all at home? What have you been doing since I left? After long, never-ending weeks, I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. I have got to say, that was the most unbearable journey I have ever been on. For days on end, the ferocious mighty waves crashed against the boat, so the boat continuously rocking from side to side. How seasick I felt. Now, the first thing that I want to check for is capital letters. So I'm going to have a little look at my paragraph and see if I've included all of the capital letters I need. Okay, I am writing to let you know of my safe passage to Turkey. Oh, now Turkey. Remember, when we have capital letters, we need to include capital letters for proper nouns. And remember, a place, a country is a proper noun, isn't it? So, whoopsie daisy, I forgot my capital letter there. So I need to change the T to a capital T. Now let me carry on reading. How are you all at home? What have you been doing since I left? Okay, I put a capital letter for I there, because remember, I am important. After long, never-ending weeks, I've done it again, was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. And I've got my capital letter for Scutari because it's a place, it's a proper noun. I have got to say, again, my personal pronoun I has a capital letter. That was the most unbearable journey I have ever been on. Oh no, look, I've remembered it every other time. But here, I've forgotten a capital letter for I. Remember, I am important. For days on end, the ferocious mighty waves crashed against the boat. So the boat continuously rocking from side to side. How seasick I felt. Oh, again, my personal pronoun I have a capital letter for. So it's just that one time I forgot it. So, and I also have capital letters at the start of each of my sentences. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and have a look at all of your capital letters. Have you included them all? Okay, yeah, too. So now we're going to look for something different. This time we're going to look for punctuation. Remember, punctuation is capital letters, full stops, and question marks. So let me have a look. I'm writing to let you know of my safe passage to Turkey. Oh, brilliant. I remembered my full stop at the end there. How are you all at home? Oh, now, how are you all at home? Well, I've started with how, which is a question word. So I know that this is a question. Now, what have I forgotten at the end? Ah, yes, I've forgotten a question mark at the end because I've got how at the start, which is a question word. So I need to add my question mark, which is my punctuation. What have you been doing since I left? So there we go. I've got my question mark there. After long, never-ending weeks, I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. I've got to say that was the most unbearable journey I have ever been on. So the last two sentences, I've remembered my full stops. For days on end, the ferocious, mighty, I've remembered my comma in between my two adjectives, waves crashed against the boat. So the boat continuously rocking from side to side. How seasick I felt. What have I forgotten at the end here? With an exclamation sentence, what do we need? Yes, with an exclamation sentence, we need an exclamation mark. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. It needs to be after felt, doesn't it? Don't know what happened there. So now it is your turn. I would like to pause the video and check for all of your punctuation. Okay, yeah, too. So now we are going to check for expanded noun phrases, and we're going to check for past progressive tense and for our questions and our exclamation sentences to check we've included everything. So I'm writing to let you know of my safe passage to Turkey. How are you all at home? Well, I've got my question word there and I've got my question mark. So I'm all good for my question. And then in the next question, what have you been doing since I left? I've also got my question word and my question mark. After long, never-ending weeks, now here, after long, never-ending weeks, what am I missing? Yes, at the beginning, I need a determiner, don't I, which I've forgotten. Now, what can I use as my determiner? Yes, I could use a number or many. So I'm going to put many there. After many long, never-ending weeks, I was so relieved when we finally arrived in Scutari. I've got to say that was the most unbearable journey I have ever been on. For days on end, the ferocious, mighty waves. There we go. So I've got my determiner. I've got ferocious and mighty, my two adjectives, and I've got my noun, which is waves. Crashed against the boat. So the boat continuously rocking from side to side. Now I've tried to use a past progressive here. The boat rocking, the boat continuously rocking. What am I missing? So I need my subject, which is the boat. And then I need my past tense of to be, which is, was. The boat was continuously rocking from side to side. How seasick I felt. Now here I've got how, I've got my adjective, and I've got my exclamation mark. So I'm good for that. So now I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at checking all of these different things. So expanded noun phrases, past progressive tense, exclamation sentences in your letter. Okay, yeah, too. So the last thing I want to check is how I can improve my letter even further. So I noticed here I've got the boat. Now I want to describe the boat. So I could say, what was the boat like? Well, I could say the wooden boat. Okay, so I'm going to add an adjective there to improve it even further. Or I could use an expanded noun phrase. I forgot about those. So I could also write the gigantic wooden boat. Now, what else could I do? The boat. So the waves crashed against the boat. So the boat continuously rocking from side to side. Well, I've repeated boat here, haven't I? Can I use a personal pronoun to replace the second boat so I don't repeat myself? Well, I can, can't I? What personal pronoun can I replace with boat? Yes, I can replace it, can't I? So I can have, so it was continuously rocking from side to side. So therefore, I haven't repeated boat. I have changed the second boat to avoid repetition with a personal pronoun. Can you see how I've improved my sentences even further by adding an adjective and a personal pronoun? So now it is your turn. Could you pause the video and have a look? How could you improve your letter even further? Okay, year two. So that is our lesson over for today. Well, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to writing the next part of our letter next lesson. Bye.